It's about time.
Yeah, definitely. As far as eSport goes, we've used StarCraft 2 as something to supplement the existing titles that are used in eSport.
Yep.
We don't want to have anyone that chooses to continue playing StarCraft not have that option. We continue to support our titles long after release. We patched StarCraft, the original StarCraft, as recently as a few months ago. It's important that if any bugs come up, that we address them, the balance issues we address them.
Cool. So, I mean, do you think, I guess I'm focusing specifically on Korea because I know there's so many people there that play it so seriously. Obviously, they're all going to pick it up pretty quickly when it comes out and start getting into it. Do you think people will eventually migrate away from StarCraft and move into StarCraft 2? Or, I mean, obviously that'd be the hope to try
I think if we do our job well and we create a really compelling gameplay experience, then that's certainly the hope. But, it's really impossible to say. We felt like we did a pretty good job with Warcraft 3, and Warcraft 3 is popular over there, but StarCraft is still the game that's nearest and dearest to their hearts.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. One thing that Blizzard, I think, is renowned for in an extremely positive way is how you guys handle issues with cheating. So they have a very strict policy about cheating and how you deal with people that are caught cheating, like to disabling of accounts, and I think you also change ranks on ladders and all that sort of stuff. Did that factor into the development of StarCraft 2, like at a design level, or is that something that you typically deal with, after the fact?
It's a combination, I think, a little bit of design. Certainly anything we can do with technology before we release the game, we try to contemplate that stuff.
Okay. Do you envisage it being a big issue, or do you think you've got it pretty well covered?
It depends. There's a lot of stuff going on in the World of Warcraft space that presents certain unique challenges. Stolen accounts are something that aren't too fun for our customers. So we've got a security token that you carry in a key ring that has a password that updates every 30 seconds or whatever, so that you can secure your account against keyloggers and things like that. Battle.net is something that we want to evolve further. We definitely want to try to achieve a point where there's more accountability in that online space. A lot of times the big challenge we face with the internet is that people are emboldened by the anonymity of it all.
Yep.
So we definitely want to try to make sure there's more accountability in that space.
That sounds awesome. In terms of in-game ladders, are there any major changes over StarCraft with the original game in terms of how they're being approached?
It's stuff that we're talking about. We haven't finalized all the details. The Battle.net stuff is one of the areas we still have a lot of work to do. So to talk about any specific details would probably be premature.
No worries. I understand. I was at GDC at the start of the year, and I saw. Is it Rob Hardo?
Maybe.
He was doing a speech. Is that the right name?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was definitely him then. And he gave
people going all over the place talking about all sorts of different stuff in all sorts of different places. So
he gave what I thought was, for me, the speech at a conference, talking about StarCraft 2 and talking about the development. And the thing that really caught my attention was how during the development phase, you guys focused really, really heavily on multiplayer. And the single player, it's obviously not an afterthought, but it's sort of the result of the work that you guys do in multiplayer. And it seems really obvious, I think, to me, that that's a really great way to make a game. If you can build a long-lasting game, if you can make multiplayer really captivating, people are going to be playing it for years to come. This is exactly what we see with pretty much every single Blizzard title, StarCraft in particular. Does developing a game like that pose any unique challenges, focusing on the multiplayer first and foremost? Or?
It's not really anything we're unaccustomed to, right? It's a process that we've been working with for many years. It's really about making sure that the multiplayer experience, like you see on the show floor here, is a foundation and the building block for what we're going to do in the single player experience.
I guess on a sort of slightly related note, the PC industry is sort of coming under a bit of fire over the last couple of months, as people sort of talk about the popularity of consoles, and one of the main topics that's discussed quite regularly is the issue of piracy. So multiplayer games obviously have they've got a bit of an advantage in that respect, because they've got you've got like a CD key, which you pretty much need to keep to have at all times to play online. Have you got any thoughts on that, like on piracy and PC games in general, and was its attitude towards that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that's a consideration for us. We're not going to devote an enormous amount of resources to dealing with it. Ultimately, we feel like if we create an online platform, Battle.net, and create a compelling experience with a full-featured set of functionality that people want to play in that space, and do so you don't have to play with legitimate copies. We view one of the biggest assets we have in terms of combating piracy is our online community, and a desire for people to be part of that community.
Cool. Is it probably a really annoying question, but I'm just asking out of interest. Will StarCraft 2 likely follow the other historical games from Blizzard in that there'll be an expansion at some point in the future?
We're really focused on delivering the first version, the StarCraft 2 proper, but definitely something that's in discussions, and we'll just have to see how things go next year.
No worries. I'm sure you saw there was some tears from gamers after the first Diablo 3 announcement was made in terms of the color, and the art design. I think a lot of people were disappointed, and then everyone else was just sort of, I know I was just disgusted at the people that were disappointed. How did that, the general reaction from those people who were, just whining really, did that cause any issues internally, or?
No, not really. I mean, it's a really good sign when you've got a community that's so passionate about a game and franchise that they want to voice their opinion like that. So it's not a problem for us. Hopefully people will respect that this is what we do for a living, and give us the benefit of the doubt until they've had an actual opportunity to play the game. Diablo 3 is shaping up really nicely, and it's really fun to play. So hopefully once people start playing it and realize how fun it is, they won't be so focused on whether or not the art style is exactly what they expect.
Cool. And I mean, from obviously that's a Diablo 3 question, but I guess StarCraft 2 follows, I think, pretty closely into the design of StarCraft 1 in terms of art and visual and all that sort of thing. So I guess you guys didn't really have to deal with anything like that when you released the first screenshots?
I didn't see any big backlash about anything.
So in general, I mean, from what I can tell, from the Australian community that we deal with, everyone is just super excited, as I said, about the whole thing, and they just can't wait for it to come out. It just looks like you guys are so on the right track, it's not even funny, really. There was been rumours floating around, I'm sure these are just as annoying as the expansion question, but things like an MMO on the horizon for the StarCraft brand?
No,
nothing like that?
We've got the World of Warcraft team's got their hands full with Wrath of the Lich King. The StarCraft 2 team's got their hands full with their project, and the Diablo 3 team has got a lot of work to do as well. Even if it was something we wanted to do, we don't have the resources to deal with it right now anyway. Okay. It's not something that's on the short or midterm horizon. It's probably really out the radar.
Okay, excellent. Just one last question, just about the online play and matchmaking. So one common problem, I guess, that we have in Australia is being geographically remote. If you want to play if you want to just jump into an online game, a lot of games sort of will pit you against a player, in the US or Europe is a very common occurrence. And when you're playing with that sort of latency, it often causes, undesirable effects in the game. It just bits of lag that, I guess, will ruin your momentum and just make the game frustrating to play. Is there anything that's in StarCraft 2 that specifically caters for that in terms of matchmaking? Are you more likely to get pitted against local opponents?
The matchmaking stuff is something we're still working on the implementation of, but the global community surrounding the game is definitely something we're conscious of, and we definitely want to be able to unite the global community, but do it in a way that doesn't take away from the play experience. So still some stuff we have to do in that regard.
Okay.